What is going on, homie home slices? I got my boy Bog over here. He just got a bath, so he actually smells halfway decent. But I'm out here on Wheeler Lake, and I got a short, kind of cool video for you. We're going to talk about these. Let me crack open this Bass Mafia box. And that's jigs. And the reason I literally almost don't buy jigs, at least pre-prepped, already kind of rigged up and skirted jigs anymore. Jigs, they might not get you a lot of bites, especially during the winter, but the ones that they do get you, you want. They're big, dude. But one of the biggest problems, at least that I run into, is water clarity and just the quality of water overall changes, as well as like the cover that I'm fishing. So it's one of those situations, you know when you're out like crankbait fishing and you're fishing, say like a red crankbait, and you're like catching them, and then it kind of slows down and you're like, dude, I really wish I had a shad colored crankbait, and you don't have it. And you got to go to the store to buy it. Jigs are not the same. One of the coolest part about jigs is that you can adjust on the real-time jigs using this system that I'm about to show you, and you can address the exact quality and color of water that you're dealing with at that very moment, because it changes from day to day, especially if you fish a place that has a lot of like inlets, a lot of river, or if it's a river or a reservoir. That water quality, one day, Tuesday can be gin clear, and Wednesday can be like red clay mud, dude. And this is a real simple way to adjust your presentation. Do something a little bit different, show them something different, but show them something that's perfect for the situation that you're in. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'm gonna show you this little sneaky deal. Let's do it. I always like to travel prepared, so I always carry this bag with me, and this bag has in it a ton of skirt making materials, from Skirts Unlimited stuff to I think Z-Man makes a bunch of stuff. There's quite a few brands. I get them all off of Tackle Warehouse. I used to get this kit, but it hasn't been in stock for ages. I'll put links to all this stuff in the description box. This kit is the deal though. If you can find it, the Skirts Unlimited kit gives you literally everything you need to do exactly what we're about to do in this video. But the situation I got right now is there was a little bit of rain yesterday. There's a little bit of a stain in the water, but overall it's pretty clear. So I'm gonna tie up two jigs. One I'm gonna use for more like flipping and getting a little more near to the cover. The other is more of like a dragging jig. Like, see those rocks back there behind me? It's something for kind of that rock pile, that gravel kind of bottom to drag across. I already got that one set up. Looks a little like something like that. Pretty hot, right? So that's the little ball head. That's going to be my dragging jig. And what I did is I set up, that's green pumpkin, that's magic craw, and I think I have a little bit of brown in there. Basically, it's kind of like a darker sort of green tone. There's a few like already rigged up jigs that I buy, some Nichols stuff, some Gambler stuff, some Dirty Jig stuff. They have custom heads. They have kind of a unique proprietary head, so you can't really get them just kind of bulk. But dude, if you go on Tackle Warehouse, I get all of these Boss jigs, and they have everything, dude, from ball heads to football jigs to flipping jigs. I get them all, maybe not like bulk prices, but like pretty decent pricing for 4 or 5 of them. Get black, green, just kind of your basic head colors, and they cover me for like 90% of the situations I run into. So it's a simple way to save some money and be prepared for just about anything. This is the big deal, and this is basically the skirt making like tool, I guess. This is the simple one. My buddy Ronan sent me a super expensive one you can't get anymore. That is absolutely awesome, but you can't get it anymore, and it's kind of clunky and expensive to have on the boat. So this is like my quick go-to one. All you do with this thing is you pop that right into the nose right off the bat, and this is a little trick that I'm going to tell you. So the one thing is that the actual collars, these guys that Skirts Unlimited makes that you can get off the Tackle Warehouse or that come with the kit, they suck. S-U-C-K. They absolutely suck, so don't get those. They also kind of inhibit sort of the action on the skirt. So what I get, these are what's called Boss O-rings. I'm going to try to show you one. They're super small, but basically it's like this little grommet. It's super tiny, but it's like a rounded grommet. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your little pointer thing and you're going to roll that on there. You got to kind of use your nails because they're pretty stout. Now, the reason you want to use these, there's multiple. The biggest couple reasons, though, so you just slide that down onto that. Basically, you get it down on the clear plastic, and then you pop this joker off. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to slide the skirt through there, and then we can slide it right onto the skirt. So what it does is it actually flares your skirt out. So this has one of the O-ring grommets on it. Do you see how much that skirt like pops out like that? When it comes to making jigs, I have a very simple system that works 90% of the time. So always start with magic craw. That iridescent blue and the green is a perfect mimicker for anything from bluegill to shad to anything alive. That iridescent sort of reflection that changes in the sun is killer. I always like to add one highlight color. I look at highlight colors as like, you know, my shirt, like blue, red, orange, maybe chartreuse, you know, purple, something that's more of a sort of bright, sort of standout color that's going to give the jig some flash or just some standout sort of potential. So in this case, it's kind of winter, so I'm going to go with something that's like red, orange. This is actually a two-tone. This is a zebra, sort of orange and green pumpkin. Gives it some brightness, also can match some of the craw and crayfish that live in some of these rocks and that. And then my third, I almost always do 3 layers. My third is going to be your standard green pumpkin. I look at this as sort of like a filler color. I want some more bulk and some flair in the jig, but I don't want too much red. I don't want too much like finesse-y looking kind of magic craw colors. I want something just as a placeholder. Black is another good one. Brown is a good one. Kind of your standard sort of darker bass colors. So I do 3 layers because what I find is if you go up to 4, the jig skirt gets too bulky. 2 is good if you are making a finesse jig, but it is a very thin jig. This is kind of a nice medium, and then what I can do is once I get the jig done, I can actually pull out little strands and make it as thin or as thick as I want from there. But that kind of gives you an idea of about what it'll look like. I always like putting my highlight color right in the middle, so I got my dark green pumpkin, my highlight color, and then I'm going to put my magic craw color. So it makes a little bit of a sandwich, and you want them all to dangle nice and flat like that. And then what you're going to do is pinch them on the top, take your little tube, and you have this little hook apparatus right here. So it's got a little hook at the end of it. You're just going to push that through the tube, and then your hook dangles right out the end there. You're going to go ahead and hook your skirts, all 3 of them, right through the middle, and it's going to look something like that. So you got a sandwich, and then what you're going to do, and this is kind of, it's not tricky, but you're going to draw it through that tube. Don't pull super hard. You're dealing with plastic. You don't want to rip the plastic, but you're going to draw it nice and slow through the tube. Once I get it through, I actually pop the hook out, and I use my fingers to kind of very slowly put some pressure on it and drag it through. You want to drag it about halfway no matter what jig you're making, because when it comes to a finesse jig, you can always trim it down more. If you're leaving it full skirted, it's right in the middle, so you want it as like modifiable, I guess, as possible. So you drag it on through, and then this is the easy part. All you're going to do is use your thumbs and pop that grommet right onto there. You see how it jumps right onto the middle of the skirt, and then I'm going to draw it the rest of the way through. Now, if you make any mistake where you put that little grommet or that little skirt collar, you can always roll it. That's another cool thing about these Boss O-rings is they're cylindrical. I can't even say the word. But basically, instead of being like a rubber band, they have a rounded sort of finish to them. So they're very easy to roll up and down with your fingers to adjust that length of the skirt. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to get to the last step, and then I get to go fishing finally. So the last thing you're going to do is pretty easy. And all it is there's these tabs on the end of the skirt, on the skirt layer material, and all you're going to do is take your scissors. It makes a little bit of a mess, but basically you cut both sides off and you get that. Now I'll warn you, don't get all crazy Edward Scissorhands with this thing now. Like, don't trim it down way down, don't customize it yet. I'm going to trim this once I get it on the jig. So I got my jig right here. This is actually a 1/2 ounce. This is a Nichols, I believe it's the Drew Benton finesse one. I actually cut the skirts off this to put my own on it. But all you're going to do is that skirt collar right there, that little kind of wedge, that's exactly where this thing needs to end up. So you just go ahead and you thread, almost like you're setting up like a soft plastic trailer on it. You thread that skirt through. That skirt looks really good. And you roll it over that collar. That's another nice thing with the grommets. They kind of roll very nicely, and you get it wedged right into that little, God, that looks really good. You get it wedged right into that little sort of alleyway that the skirt is supposed to be sitting in, and then you get something like that. Now, that does not look perfect for what I want. There's a lot of spotted bass out here in smallmouth. I want a downsized presentation. I don't want it as fluffy. So you're going to take it, and I see where that hook is at, making a mess of my boat, but I'm going to trim it down to the hook, and then I'm going to look kind of at those top strands and see where they sit. It looks like I missed one right there, so I'm going to give it a little clip there, and then I'm going to just cut it just a little. One thing I like to do is make some of the strands uneven with some of the other strands. Not crazy uneven, but maybe like 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. I think it makes it flare a little differently, and it just gives it kind of a cool look in the water where you have different things happening at different times. So I'm just going to make a few clips. I don't know, you tell me down in the comments box, would you flip that jig? Would you drag that jig? Only one step left in the process, boys. Let's go dangle these jigs and see if we can't catch a bass. How about it? Old jig fish, boys. Oh golly. Dude. Look at that spotted bass, dude. Fuck, that is the meat pig. Spotted bass. Oh, meat pig, dude. Knew he was behind there. Another big old spot. He actually bit it twice, dude. What a chunker, dude. They're liking this jig. My little custom jig is badass, dude. I love doing this, and it's a great way to adapt on the fly. If you tournament fish, you're fishing new bodies of water, you know, you get out there and you find out about some hot color that's absolutely bizarre. You can tie it up in a second. The other really cool part is you can do this on your chatterbaits. You can do this on your spinnerbaits. The worst feeling to have is you pull out your favorite spinnerbait or chatterbait and the skirt's blown off because it's rotted and gets all gunky. Well, not only can you put a new skirt on there with a custom color, but you can put it on there with that good grommet to give it that extra flair. So it's a great way to be adaptable on the water and not expensive. But if you think this is cool, grab yourself some skirt material, give it a try, tie up your own, customize, get perfect for your body of water. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you back out on the water or talking from the garage. Always about fishing. Later, boys.